Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Vinyl Talk with Tavis. And I'm Tavis. This video is a video entry into Jack's Trax Records contest. And I am so glad that I am able to do this. I want us to celebrate Jack. He is a wonderful, wonderful young man in the VC. I think he's one of our youngest members, and I love watching his channel. He is so full of energy and he's so articulate, and I appreciate it. And I think he's 12 years old, going on 13. And I'm a teacher, so I'm like, I wish he was one of my students. I think we would just hit it off. And he's a drummer. And Jack, I was a drummer too when I was your age. I don't play the drum set, but I play the snare drum in band. And we'll talk more about that later. But his contest has 5 questions, and you must be a subscriber, and I am. You must submit a video entry, and that's what I'm doing. And you're going to answer these 5 questions. So first, you all be sure to subscribe to Jack's Trax Records channel. He's awesome. And I'll have the link in the description below. So the first question is what, Jack?
The first question is, what was your favorite record that came out when you were 13?
My favorite record that came out when I was 13 years old, which was in 1985. I was 13 in 1985 on July 17. When this lady hit the scene, it was all over. That's Whitney Houston. This is her debut album from 1985. And when she came out with You Give Good Love, you give good love to me. It's never too much. Baby, you give good love. And we had just gotten a satellite to watch channels from all over the world. And we had Black Entertainment Television and MTV that came out. And her video came up. And I was like, who is this woman? And then when she came out with How Will I Know? I knew I was in love with this woman. Such beauty, such grace, such a voice. What a voice. We call her The Voice. Whitney Houston, 1985. His next question is, you tell me, Jack, what's the next question?
What was your favorite band at the age of 13?
Okay, my favorite band when I was 13, it wasn't a band, it was a solo artist, but he had come from a band, the Jacksons. And he went out on his own with his second, well, I don't think it was his second solo album, but one of his most well-known, the best-selling album ever, Michael Jackson's Thriller. I was still on board with this record, and this came out in 1982. But this was still just as hot as ever. And, man, if you only knew, some of you probably do, I'm sure you do, the phenomenon that was going on with this man during this time, it was just crazy fun. So much fun. This guy, Michael Jackson, you just can't go wrong, at least for me. I don't know how you all feel about it, but he was my favorite artist at the time, and still remains very, very close to my heart. So I love this album. I love Michael Jackson so much. And yeah, my favorite artist during that time. And here's the next question.
What is your favorite Rush album? I'm sure
Now, I must be incredibly honest. Can a person be incredibly honest? Okay, I'll take out the word incredibly. I must be honest, I've not really listened to a lot of Rush music. But it wasn't until I started watching Jack's channel, and he's just so in love with Rush, that I've been listening to Rush. And the song Tom Sawyer, that bass line and the guitars and the syncopation and the rhythm of that music is just beyond incomparable. So I have ordered through Discogs, Moving Pictures from Rush because of Jack's recommendation. So Jack, thank you for that. So my favorite Rush album right now is Moving Pictures. And Tom Sawyer is, man, that's a jam. That's the first cut on the album. A complete jam. Okay. What's the next question, Jack?
What is your favorite Cheap Trick album? For me, it is Dream Police.
Okay, I'm very familiar with Cheap Trick because when I was in college, I had a person who lived next door to me in the dorms, and he played this song by Cheap Trick practically every morning. And we would have to knock on his door to tell him it's too early to be playing this music. Because he would get up early and take a shower, and we would hear him, and he would be playing his music, and we had to say, hey, listen, you got to calm yourself down. But he always played Cheap Trick, Heaven Tonight, that album. And the song he would play is Surrender. And I have it right here. Let's see. I'm not going to play it, actually. But I know that that's the album because I remember going to his room and seeing it. And man, he played that album all night, all morning. And so I actually went to his dorm and said, okay, what are you playing? He said, man, I just love Cheap Trick, man. I just love this. And he had lots of records. And he had a turntable in his dorm room, and it was really cool. And so, yeah, that would have to be my favorite album because that's the only album I know of Cheap Trick. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, Jack. But again, I went to Discogs because of you, Jack, and I have ordered this album. If not because I love it, it's because it just brings back memories of my time in college. So, yeah. Now, what's the next and last question, Jack?
And who is your favorite drummer? For me, it's Neil Peart, but I've already showed 3 Rush records.
Okay, my favorite drummer of all time is Buddy Rich. To me, there's no one better. And I had a chance to go to Russia and perform for about 3 years. And I was on tour. And one of my drummers in one of my bands in one of the cities in Russia, he took me backstage, or we were backstage, and we were talking about our favorite artists and blah, blah, blah. And he told me his influences. And one of them was Buddy Rich. And I said, yeah, I'm familiar with Buddy Rich. And he led me to a video on YouTube that just blew my mind. And then after I saw that video, I knew that Buddy Rich was my favorite drummer. And he was a jazz drummer. He was a band leader. And his drumming is just, I just don't see how the man played so hard. And there's a great video of him playing a big drum solo with a big band. And they just give him like practically 5 minutes. And he is just by himself playing that drum, and all the people are just waiting for him to give the cue for them to come in. And it's so crazy how he kept the beat all that time, because he would change the tempo and he would change the meter. Sometimes it sounded like it was in 4/4. Sometimes it sounded like it was in 3/4. Sometimes it sounded like it was in 6/8. I don't know, or 12/8. But all of a sudden, and then that band pops in. I'm like, my God, how did that happen? Beautiful drummer, a fantastic drummer. See, I'm excited even thinking about it. And I was a drummer in high school. Well, actually in middle school too. Because I always did this. I was always beatboxing and playing my chest with my hands. And my friend said, Tavis, you need to join the band. And I said, what? And this was 7th grade. I think I was your age, Jack. And I went to the band director, and she was doing a playground duty. And I said, my friend said that I need to audition to be in the band. And she said, well, what can you play? I said, well, I'm good at playing the drums, I think. And so right there on the spot, she said, well, let me hear what you got. And I started playing my chest and my thigh. And she was looking at me, and all my friends were like, yeah. And so then I went to the band office, and she had a drum there, and I had never really played a snare drum before. I was just playing my chest. But I had played with broken broomsticks, but I never played a real drum. I never played with real drumsticks. And I said, okay, this is just like how I play at home with those broomsticks. And I was playing the snare drum, and she was looking, and she was like, we need you. I asked my mom. She said, okay. And I was in high school band from 7th grade until I was a senior. So I love drummers, and I think that's helped me out a lot musically. Again, I don't play the drum set, but I do appreciate someone who can, because it takes a lot of dexterity, understanding a lot of mental work, understanding where each drum is, remembering what to play and how to play it. Crazy stuff. But anyway, I've digressed from the actual entry, but I just wanted to tell you that story, Jack, and anyone who's watching. So Jack, this is my video entry into your contest. I wish you all the best, and I want us to help Jack to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. So anyone who's watching, if you're not familiar with Jack's Trax Records, you be a subscriber, and you click on the subscribe button and be his subscriber. He's fantastic. So everyone, as always, I hope you're having a great summer. I'll start with that. But as always, with music and with great channels like Jack's Trax Records. Jack's Trax Records. Man, that's hard to say. Be inspired and stay inspired.